as reparations, what land can it give you? Because I guarantee you, they're not going to hand over Central Park. So I thought about it. Since they're not going to really give us land, why not ask for something better? Housing. Why not for ADOS give us free housing, which means that we no longer pay rent and we no longer pay mortgages. So I propose that we have a 5-year contract where for 5 years, the government puts us whatever house we want. That's reasonable, because some of y'all will be like, oh, whatever house I want, and try to be a millionaire. You ain't got no millionaire money to pay for the fees of the house. We're talking about the mortgage. So 5 years, they let us pick a house that we want. They pay our mortgage, or if you want to live in a luxury apartment, they pay your rent for 5 years, including your housing fees for 5 years. And then once 5 years is up, you renegotiate your contract. Either you stay there for another 5 years, or you could choose to move someplace else in 5 years. But the government will continue to pay for that because that's our land. They can't give us back what they burned down because they built over that. So you don't want to be stuck in Montana with land that you can't do nothing with, because many people are broke and they don't have the money to do anything with it but to sell it to the next rich black person. And when you do that, you're going to lose out. So why not just give us housing? Mortgage free, right? All right. Next, no more taxes. Now, our people didn't come here on our own. We still have slave last names. So if you want to do right by us, reparations would be great. No more taxes. We're not going to miss our money. Because if you think about it, are we a big population or are we a small population? I'm saying as part of ADOS, I shouldn't have to pay taxes and my children shouldn't have to pay taxes. My mother should no longer have to pay taxes. That's an idea. Education. Since they didn't want us to read and learn, I'm thinking free pre-K, free kindergarten, free elementary, free middle, free high, free college, free graduate, and all schools of our choice, meaning that we could go wherever we want and not have to pay a dime. So if you want your kid to go to a prestigious boarding school, your kid can go to that boarding school and not pay a dime. It's on the government. Those are reparations. That means that we actually get something and not have to come out of our pockets, and we can actually work and save our money to do what we want to do, right? A moment of truth. Who wants to start?
I will say this. And I mean no disrespect to the man, but I always told people Barack Obama was more about America, not black people as individuals. And he took it and he ran with it when the notion was electing him would give minorities, meaning black folks who ancestors actually got whipped and hung, would get reparations from this country that gives reparations to a culture, which is the Jewish, and that crime never happened on American soil. We thought Obama was going to do right by black people, and I knew better. And he never came out and said it, so you can't say, well, he promised it and he didn't do it, but he let it be out there and he let it go anyway, and that's why he won with the landslide he won with. Now, giving reparations to people, yes. I always say, if you ever want to fix the deficit, you give them, black people, the money, because the majority of them don't know how to handle it, and you will fix the debt in probably a day. It'll be 5,000 record labels and chicken shacks and all kinds of stuff up in a heartbeat. That's how you fix your own economy. Or you would take companies like Philip Morris and all these other companies that provided and lived off of this situation, which is $1 trillion, billion-dollar organizations, and you give stock options to the family members. You can track it down, like you said, for the last name. You got the last name of your slave. What is your last name? You belong to Jacob. Jacob property is worth about $17 trillion right now. Let's break down stock options. Let's do half this, half that. Let's build it. You don't have to devastate that company to do right by the individuals who helped build it. But I never really looked at him as, a black savior. And I just want people to understand they hate us so much. Like I said, they can fix the deficit in one day and they won't. They give reparations to a culture that crimes never happened in this country. They still want the Confederate flag hung, where as far as Germany, you can't even say the word Nazi without getting hit upside your head. They ban it on all aspects. Anything that had to do with Hitler, you can't utter the words. They paid them a large sum of money. They did right by that culture. Why can't America do the same? Jeff?
It's a lot to unpack here. If you give us, I'm gonna hit your points. If you give us 5 years free, mortgage free. See, they can't do mortgages because those are public contracts between us and lenders. They don't have nothing to do with the government. Land would be better because you can own it forever, like I was gonna say Indians, but it's Native Americans. Get off my land. Click, click. I would say rent free, no. Like if owning in areas, they already have that. That's the Section 8s, which was started by things, which don't work out for to anybody, any color.
Yeah, but the Section 8s, you have them in ridiculous locations. I'm saying, as a ADOS recipient, you can live in these beautiful, gorgeous apartments and not have to pay a dime because it's on the government.
So what happens after 5 years when I still don't have enough? So then you want lifetime. You don't want. So don't put a cap at 5. You want lifetime.
Lifetime, yeah.
Right. So different words, because if that's the case, lifetime will be infinite, which can't be portrayed by a number. Housing can always be portrayed by a number. They already know how much the average person in living in certain areas will be for their life.
Okay.
You know, so it's already listed. School is free, except for college and graduates.
That's why I said school choice, meaning that now
It's still free.
No, but it's not, because
You can go to any public school. Hold on, you can go to any public school that you want in any district, as long as you live in a district and all that other stuff. Private schools, again, would fall under the same thing as with the lender. It's my school. You want to come there, you know, whatever the price may be, because it will be an open price point per child, which it already is. And a lot of towns don't meet the price point. You know, everybody feels it. But they're not going to expense it for that, because that's the problem allegedly Biden is having now, with between figuring 50,000 or 10,000, because the private schools, like to go to get your undergrad at a private school, you 6 figures in. Woo. When you could have went to a state school or something like that and spent maybe 20, 30. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So why should those people prosper? He makes a point. I'm not saying it's the only point you should be looked at, but he makes a point, because that's the same thing too. Why would you send your kid to St. Mary's of Olson? You know what I mean?
But a lot of parents are sending their kids to certain places because it's better than where they are right now. If you cannot fix what's going on in our public school system now and our charter school system, because they're not all great, if you can't fix it, then allow parents school choice to go where they want their kids to go.
But that's a state issue.
But not have to pay for it.
That's a state issue. That was never a slave issue. That because there's a lot of poor white folks that'll argue that in the middle of America. That'll argue the same thing and ain't seen a black person since 1942.
But the thing is that, remember, as slaves, they didn't want us to read. They didn't want us to have education. So it is a slave issue.
Right, so, but we still have access to education. See, it's the word access to education, not access to this education. You don't have to go to Harvard, but you went to Rutgers. You get what I'm saying?
I'm not saying that they have to go to prestigious academies or anything like that. No, I'm just saying to go to a better school choice for you. If it is in your district or outside your district, it could be just a line, and you step over that line and you're in a new district, but your kid can't go there. Now they can go there.
They have those programs already existing and grants to help that.
That's not everywhere, though. That's just the thing. It's not everywhere.
But again, that's not a federal issue which you will be looking for reparations from a federal thing. That's not a federal. Not a federal issue. Federal will be like, yo, y'all want more money in Newark? All right, here you go. There's more money going down to Newark. Now, however, the mayor and the board of ed choose to spend it, that's on them. You get what I'm saying? You have to. You can't just be like, look, they took it, so we can't do that. It's a lot of things though, but I mean, definitely.
So what would you
Fall
guys?
apart.
What would you guys want as reparations? You're down with just having land unclaimed by the Chinese, if that even exists.
So the Chinese are only buying certain
You know
parts.
they ain't gonna allow them to buy it.
Yeah, don't get that twisted. This is how I would flip the land. Everybody able to get $100,000 if $100,000 mortgage free. That's the minimum they can do. You can go get your little plot. You can go get your lot. You can go wherever you're gonna spend it, because $100,000 will go way further in Louisiana than it will in North Jersey.
But why would you limit me to Louisiana and I can't do what I want in Jersey?
Because you already at a price. No, you can go wherever you want to go.
That's a setup.
It's not a setup. It's
Yes,
not
it
a setup.
is.
It's not a setup because you're basing this whole reparations thing on a price point of free labor of our ancestors and what we would have lost, the wealth. So it always came down to land. All those I don't want to just say white folks, but anybody who has had wealth has amassed land.
But the
Didn't have to
land that we
pay.
did have, they burnt down. And they killed our people for it.
That was a
You
small.
walk in Central Park.
So do you know how to? Well, besides Central Park was a weird buyout, and that's where they was pushing all the black people. But when you talk about the land that they lost in Tulsa, the land they lost in Illinois, and all this other things, they left them as abandonment. Of course, you're gonna get killed. You're gonna run away, hands down. We all know that. But why would it be reclaimed? It's just like the dude I sent you, the $16 house dude. It's the same theory.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
okay.
sit. I get to squat here for 3 years, and as long as I'm here at the last quarter of it, all I had to do was file the paper. That's what they did. Click, click. Stay away from here. We chased you off already. They just refiled it back. You're right. But imagine if we did have all that land in Tulsa. Imagine what we've been able to amass. Imagine how many black kids in that area wouldn't have to pay rent, right, for staying home or something like that. So now they had more expense money to when they're in college or when they do this.
Right.
So that's how you amass wealth. You don't have to pay for it when you're 20. And then you saved. By the time you became 35, I could afford my own house, Mom. Thanks.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
What's up?
Who do you want to see on this panel?
I would say, Penn. Let me say this. I say land. I say
What's up?
funds and percentage. So Philip Morris is worth about $9 billion. Okay, so what I say is, you break everybody off who's deserving from that family, who helped build all that stuff. You break those people off, and then you give them percentage. That way, the company doesn't go belly up. And
Dude.
as far as land, I say you do the same thing you did with the Indians. You give us. Here's the thing.
Native
I'm
American.
I'm for segregation. I'm for it.
I'm not.
And this is the reason why I say that. It wouldn't work because white people not watching their own kids. I'll tell you that right now. They can't stand their own kids. They like them because someone else comes to, they could say goodnight to them and go about their business. That's why they want them around.
But that's what anybody with wealth. No wealthy person watches their
No,
own
what
kids.
I'm saying is right. So if you don't want to be included in this, if you don't want to be surrounded by black people, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, then you can't have any black employees. You can't have this. Hold them to the law, the letter of the law.
Okay.
You don't want this, then you can't have this. So you can't tell me, oh man, this is one of the greatest Italian restaurants in the world, and Mexicans is in the kitchen. Hold them to the letter.
Good luck.
You go. We was talking about Ruth Chris and all these other restaurants, and guess who's in the kitchen? Exactly.
I don't want anybody on that board who they're going to put on that board because a lot of them don't understand the
That's what
process.
I'm saying.
So
like,
it doesn't
It
matter
has
who
to
they
be a
pick.
great mixture. Someone from every culture.
No, because the
No,
people
what?
they can only pick from are so far removed from the understanding the problem. That's like putting me on a board about women having women's hysterectomy or women who has problems. I'm like, I never had one, so
Right.
let's do
what you're saying.
let's do this. You know what I mean? They're like, no, what are
I
you crazy?
understand what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? Like everybody who we can put on that board is not going to understand the problem
You're
the
right.
way we are looking at and understanding the problem.
No, you're right.
So it's going to be very hard. They can't just put regular folks.
I would say even if you are going to put someone who's not of that color, like we talked about, because you're about to talk about this a little later on, you find other people with the same poverty, not matter if they white, black, Indian, or whatever it is, but you find people who have experienced the same oh gosh.
Ethnicity?
Well, the money, finances. Just the right
Equity?
word.
What's he talking
You just say ebony?
Yeah,
I
she
was
said
like, I was like, the same blackness?
people who've had the same financial struggles. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Okay.
So if I know you had the same financial struggles that I had, then where you from, me and you are going to be thinking alike. It don't matter if you're white, I'm black. We both ain't had we had rice and beans 10 days straight.
I get you.
So we understand what it is going to be like for that situation.
I get you.
So if you want to have the nice mixture of culture, then you do it that way where you don't have to worry about the person being white and black. No, we're all broke. So none of us should have any issues or problems getting along.
Yeah.
Okay. When FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was asked what, in his opinion, was the single greatest threat to the United States of America, he responded, Negro unity. Let that sink in. I got that from this book, Message to the Millennials by Brother Rizza Islam. Why am I king? Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Because the light.
Yeah, the light. There you go.
There we
you
go.
There you go.
Why am I bringing this up? Well, thanks to HBO Max, because listen, I'll do a commercial for y'all. Like, you got a bomb diggity, right? They allowed a lot of people, not just me, to watch a movie called Judas and the Black Messiah. So I knew it was about the Black Panthers. In my mind, I kind of saw everything backwards. I saw the documentary of the Black Panthers years ago, and then I watched this movie. And I know they're saying watch the movie, then watch the documentary. I was appalled then. After watching this movie, I'm disgusted. I'm never going to call a cop a pig because I went to school with people that are now cops. But I will say this. Even after everything that has happened with all the murders and the killings of black people, unarmed black people, and, having cops chase after slaves just to bring them back, cut off a toe, cut off a foot, all this stuff, I no longer, because at one point I did feel safe with cops. And I always say it's based on where you live, right? I really can't look at cops the same after this. And I can confidently group every cop as one. I don't want to label them as pigs, but you all abide by the same code, okay? And what happens in one district happens in all districts. If you agree with it, you agree with it basically by not saying anything, by not helping to correct the situation. What am I talking about? Fred Hampton, Chicago, Illinois, leader of the Black Panther Party in that area, was drugged, was asleep when his apartment was raided. Okay? 99 bullets. Okay? Who was shooting back? 99 bullets. Now, if you want to talk about somebody being shot in their bed while asleep, that was him at age 21. I know a lot of you are saying Breonna Taylor, but her body was in the hallway. So if she was supposed to be, then she must have gotten up from her sleep to be in the hallway, but that's neither here nor there. So at age 21, he was shot, and they were happy to kill him on the orders of the FBI and J. Edgar Hoover, who clearly had a thing against us black folks because he knew that if we all got together, we'd be the number one. We'd be on top. But he also knew that in order to infiltrate us, he had to take some of us and turn them against us. Just like in a movie. True life. Real story. Nothing's fiction. This happens. I'm a little confused, though. It seems like if there's a slave story, it seems like if there's a story about the killing of black people, everybody wants to give these movies an award. So this movie is nominated for a Golden Globe. Do y'all like to see us oppressed? I'm a little confused. I like to give awards to people who do an outstanding job in acting, and if a movie is like brilliant, but I feel some type of way because this is real life. Are we giving a Golden Globe nomination because of the events of this movie? Because then I'm feeling some type of way about that. Like, our people were mocked. There's a scene where you have the cops, they surround the, I want to say the office building in Chicago before they bombed it. Black people were in the back and they were just walking by, and you hear the white cops making fun of the women, calling them Aunt Jemima and everything. These are things that really happen, and to this day it still does. Maybe just not to our faces, maybe behind closed doors. Then they bombed the building after a shootout because they could do that. Because we were nothing. And we're giving this movie a Golden Globe nomination for what? Because of facts? To this day, nobody has rectified the situation. You murdered a 21-year-old in his sleep. And for what? Because you were afraid of him getting the people rallied and rising up against oppression? Really? Can black people have anything? Damn. He had an 8-month pregnant girl fiance. I'm surprised y'all didn't kill her either. That was one moment in the movie where I was holding my breath because in my mind I thought they was going to punch her in the stomach. And that's when I would have lost my cool. But they didn't. And she was able to give birth. She's alive. Her son's alive. But he's not. And why? Now, he was supposed to be going back to jail. Mind you, on some bogus charges of stealing, what, ice cream? That was false. So y'all have no problem putting bogus charges on black people who do nothing wrong. Just speak out against the oppression. But y'all want to give us a Golden Globe for being in chains, being oppressed, and getting our brains blown out while we sleep. And you know, the other FBI informant I didn't realize was Lil Rel.
Yes.
And you know what the funny part was? In my mind, I was like, dang, you look familiar, right? But I'm like thinking, where do I know you from back in those times, right? Like, this is like, I know the story is real, but I'm watching a movie, but I really felt like I knew this person. Then I realized it was Lil Rel. I'm like, slow. Because there was something about his character, his posture, that I was like, okay, you're not trying to be a comedian, but you was right on point and probably needed at that moment. But I have to say I cried. Because I never knew Fred Hampton, and that's the problem. A lot of our leaders we will never know. Because they've all been assassinated. And we can thank John Edgar Hoover for that. Because he had his way of getting rid of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He had his way to get rid of Malcolm X. Let's call it what it is. He had his way of getting rid of Fred Hampton. Because black people are a threat. Now, y'all ancestors brought us over here to do the work that y'all was too lazy to do, okay? But now we're the threat because we actually got the education you didn't want us to have. We rose up to the occasion, started thinking for ourselves. Then you have the fools that do petty crimes and then they get caught, and now they're turncoats, and they work for the FBI, and then all of a sudden they infiltrate the Black Panther Party and turn. What irritated me the most is that every single time a story like this is told, there's always one person who spots the turncoat, and nobody listens. It's like history repeats itself. You have one person in the crowd saying that's that dude. Nobody wants to listen. Why are you not listening? That should have raised eyebrows. Okay? They don't want to listen. So, in watching this movie, I realized in today's society, we're in trouble. Because, again, even with the elections, I keep saying, why, as Black people, do we keep looking for white people to save us? Why are we not organizing ourselves? Why are we so quick to believe Biden is our savior? I mean, if you're a spiritual person, your savior is Jesus Christ. But a lot of people, on the other hand, think that Jesus is Biden. Or maybe Jesus is Kamala. Because she's fair-skinned. Let's go that route. Why can't we organize and do for us like the Jews do for them? Like Little Italy does for the Italians. Like Little China does for China, or Chinatown does for Chinese. What's wrong with us? Why are we so broken that we can't come together and work together and help each other? I mean, to this day, you have women that are being kidnapped, women that are being abused, women that are, you see the posters, last seen October 20th, 1992, still haven't found. And then I'm thinking to myself, men, where are you? Shouldn't you be helping to protect us? But then again, even inside our own community, our Black men don't even care. They care more about who they're going to have sex with than caring about the sister that's being oppressed by this other person, or about the sister that's hasn't been seen in weeks. I don't see anybody going out looking for them. What are we doing? Why are we not organizing? What is wrong with us as Black people? And don't forget that we're fighting each other because I'm less Black than this one, or I'm not really trying to align myself with a Black person from the islands because we're not the same. Don't forget that argument. Oh, and don't forget the argument of light skin versus dark skin. We have that issue too. Why can't we all just be brothers and sisters? When are we going to seek justice? Because it took how many years? 10 or 12 years before they got a settlement for Hampton's death? $1.2 million?
That's it.
I'm sorry, it was 22 years. You mean to tell me you murdered a man in his sleep and it took 22 years for you to pay that family? And all you can give them was $1.2 million? Why are we not marching on Washington demanding that the FBI be shut down altogether? Why does the FBI still exist? Why does the FBI, who have purposely targeted Black people, still exist? A moment of truth.
You take that one first, Jeff. I took it last.
You got a lot of questions there. FBI exists, solely exists. There's another doc that goes why the creation of control the nation's interests. That's why they do a lot of spy stuff, not just the CIA. CIA was always international. FBI was always internal. They help little kids get rescued when they get kidnapped over state lines. They help interracial codes, to anything that they deem from Kennedy up now. A lot of stuff that actually benefits people of color. And I'll just say, or minorities, unfortunately. Now, that's why they exist and still exist. Now, do they do some Hooverish stuff still? Of course. Are they in the neighborhoods with crack? No need anymore. It's already been done. Um, what was the other question? I forgot. Here we go. Damn, I totally forgot. But they're around. Do we unity? You yourself has hit. If you're looking at unity for anything that is dark, no matter where they come from, then you can't go on and say I'm ADOS, you from the Caribbean, and you this. You would have to unify, or even anything, even Chinese or white. You would have to unify everything against the government. We all would have to rise up against the king. Their greatest influence is to keep people divided. They do it amongst themselves. Mm-hmm. You rich, you poor. You know what I'm saying? Go down, go live in Tennessee, go live in Florida. It's cheaper. We over here in the hills of California, wherever it is. It's done. So much of that is done, and we don't even notice it. It's done when you went to college. Yeah. And you won't even pay attention. I got to go this so I can get a 6-figure job. And I got to do this because I don't want to be living here. And I don't want to do this. You have to, when somebody starts free thinking, you have to eliminate the person. Fred would have been Castro. Okay. America's Castro.
Yes.
You understand?
Real quick.
Shoot.
I wanted to say that William, a.k.a. Bill O'Neill, the turncoat, was a bitch. And what irritated me the most was he had such bitch-assness in him, as Diddy, called some people back in the day, that it was hard not to notice how weird he was acting. And you should have questioned his motives. That's how bitch-assness there was of Bill O'Neill. So I was shocked when he rose to the level of security person. I was like, how'd that happen? Or when they had the shootout at the office, and he all of a sudden, I'm going to go protect the roof. Like, y'all know that didn't sound right. And how after everything that was going on, he came unscathed. Nothing on him. And it's like at that time, y'all wasn't thinking. Because I knew he was shady just by the moment he was, walking up to the scene. Like, he just seemed unsure of himself. And then, at the end, all he got was some money and keys to a gas station. Really? Was it worth it? Obviously not, because after his interview, what was it, 1989?
I believe so. Or the 90s? Was
then
it the 90s?
Committed suicide. Good riddance.
Allegedly committed suicide. Allegedly committed suicide.
Yeah. We both know that didn't really happen.
You got to be a strong person to run. Would you run into traffic?
Yeah.
They killed you just him. Get up and run into traffic? You can slit your wrist.
Somebody killed you?
You can slit your wrist on that one.
My bad. That's what happened, sir.
And, back to your, really quick,
He wasn't missed. I'm glad, because had this been in 2021, trust.
It was great acting. That's why they're getting the awards. Because for homie to play Bill O'Neill, he had to go through some real self stuff.
No, I get the whole acting, but again, and I applaud you for the acting and capturing, but movies like this I don't think deserve to be rewarded, because it's true. I feel like in a crowd, especially a crowd full of white people, they don't understand, oh, that was brilliant. What was brilliant? This is a real story. So now, if they win, they have to go make a speech to make other people recognize that this is real life.
That's the point. That's the point. So how many people don't know about the Fred Hampton story, period?
And that's the thing there. That's why this movie is important, because you yourself, you said you didn't know. You might have heard of him, but you didn't know the extent of it. And this is what brought that to the front. And the reason why this movie deserves to be recognized, because you despise O'Neill because of that actor. He did such a phenomenal job.
Oh, he did.
You despise O'Neill and knew nothing about O'Neill. You know nothing about him, but you hate every last fabric of his being. And the fact that DK sounded just like Hampton with his preaches, or the way he went on and he did his thing.
That's an actor.
Oh my gosh. And that's what I'm saying.
Studied.
That's why it deserves the credit it does, and it opened a lot of things up to where it made people pay attention to everything that was going on that may have not knew about him and understood him, but you also looking at it from the point that this happened 50 years ago and we're still talking about him. And this man was starting, to the FBI in Hoover, he was more dangerous than Malcolm and Malcolm X and Dr. King put together. And the reason why is he got these people who would normally hate each other to work together because he explained to them, just like I told about earlier, you're white, I'm black, but we're both struggling. Why are we fighting each other? He was able to get all these people to listen and agree and willing to go that extra mile to be together. That's dangerous.
The enemy of my enemy
is my friend. Now, could you imagine Puerto Ricans, whites, and blacks together?
Of nations and kings.
But I also think that he had the opportunity to flee, to run, because he knew that his time was coming up. I'm glad he didn't, because I feel like if he did flee, they would have killed his girlfriend and unborn child.
Well, what we got to understand is, one, this is a movie, and even though it's based on a lot of truth,
right?
Just like the young lady with the fro, her character was fictional,
right?
So a lot of it, like I said, the essence of the movie is true. Now, everything fine point, I don't want you to sit there and be like, oh, this is exactly what had happened and the way it happened. Now, yes, Fred, he wasn't the only snitch.
No.
But the fact of the matter is,
Fred wasn't a snitch.
It don't matter if he's white.
O'Neal was a snitch.
It don't matter if you're white, black, purple. At the end of the day, if you back somebody in a corner, why am I going to pick you over me? Why would I pick you over me? Let's be honest. If I'm going to go to jail, and it kills me when people try to put all black people in the same boat. It just doesn't work that way. I'm not liable for things in your actions. You're not liable for mine.
The real thing of today is, where's the new Fred Hampton?
Because now we don't have one.
They're scared. They see what happened to all the other ones.
But that's why they do. That's why the FBI works. It's the hang of the body. Cross me, and you're gonna join them. Now, but today, a Fred Hampton can work in anonymity.
Yes, he can. Lord have mercy, he can.
We all forgot about Anonymous. We all forgot, if you good with this technology, and this reaches everybody. You forget that. Do you understand?
Like, hold on. Let me make a correction.
Yeah, go ahead.
The lawsuit against the FBI happened in 1970, and 12 years later, they settled for $1.85 million.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So 82. And that went to all of the families, not just Fred Hampton's.
See?
So they didn't even get that. But it's sad. It's sad. But look, man, I'm saying be on the lookout for the new one, because I feel one coming in the midst.
Yes, but I don't want it to be from a celebrity or somebody who's out here getting paid by the oppressor.
The next one will be anonymous.
We all got jobs.
Yeah,
so that's like we
That's the other thing too. But that's why you really imagine if he had survived and really had a whole coalition of people.
Lord have mercy.
That would have been
your. Would you have joined?
No, not even that. They would have succeeded from the state. I guarantee it would have succeeded from the United States.
This is a man. See, here's what people understand. Like,
that's why I said you can't have that now, because
What you mean? Texas is trying to do that.
No, it never happened.
Texas ain't going nowhere. This whole coal blast would prove that. Like, we need you, master. Please feed us.
Well, that's just like what was the former Klansman? Was it David Duke?
David Duke,
yeah.
Who went and told Clinton, "Listen, out here, we don't want to celebrate Martin Luther King."
Yeah.
And the president shouted to Clinton, who was the blackest president we ever had. He said, "Fine, you don't want to celebrate Martin Luther King. We don't want to give you government funding." He said, "You know what? That black man ain't as bad as I thought he was." You hit him in the pocket, which is where it counts nowadays.
All right.
Shoot.
So, yes, phenomenal movie, great. But at the end of the day, what I loved about the movie is it paid more attention to O'Neal, to me.
Oh,
than
it did. Yes,
than
definitely.
it did Fred Hampton. It's just that DK is such a great actor; he was overpowering. But if you actually get watch an interview of Stanfield, I think I pronounced his name right? That was his
Lakeith Stanfield.
Stanfield,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Look how uncomfortable he is, even at an interview, for him to play that role to so good to where you yourself, Black Butterfly, is sitting there wanting to punch that man in the face
I
like he
did.
really was that character.
Lakeith, I would love to interview you. I adore you as an actor. You did a phenomenal job. I did want to punch you in the face, though. But that's how good you were.
Absolutely.
Like, you really captured, because if you look at the old footage of the interviews that O'Neal gave,
Spot on.
yes, you were spot
Spot on.
on. I'm
Scary.
like, dang.
Scary.
And that's what we don't have a lot of. We don't have real actors anymore. And you, sir, certified gold. I mean, y'all, you studied. You did what you were supposed to do. And you brought the essence of O'Neal to the big screen. So we thank you for that. Okay, on Thursday, the United States House of Representatives passed the Equality Act, landmark legislation that would protect LGBTQ. This is where they made the error. It's the LGBTQ plus minus division. People from discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity in everyday life. If approved by the Senate and signed by President Joe Biden, it would be the most sweeping federal LGBTQ plus minus civil rights bill to ever become law. It's a watershed moment for the LGBTQ young people who deserve to live their lives without fear of being treated differently for who they are. The day prior, it was witnessed that a U.S. Congresswoman hung an anti-transgender sign outside of her public office to purposely mock her colleague across the hall for displaying a transgender flag in support of her trans child. That same Congresswoman also went out of her way to misgender her colleague's daughter on Twitter and advocate for excluding trans youth from bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams that correspond with their gender identity. This is from USA Today. I guess they didn't want to mention her name. Okay, so we're being petty. She is Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a Republican. Now, here's the thing. She put a sign that says there are two genders. Male, female, trust the science. Well, Democrats, you all keep saying trust the science, and the science said there's man and woman. Transgenders just change from man to woman. So she ain't lying. All right. So you didn't like Rep. Green because she said some comments and she was a Trump supporter, so you kicked her off a bunch of committees. When you kicked her off a bunch of committees, she, in response, said now she has time to focus on the people. Now she's focused on the people. Specifically women, girls, because she wants to protect them. Because as you're giving rights to transgenders and allowing biological boys that are now girls use the locker rooms, what about the rights of the biological girls that remain girls? It's not the same. Okay? Especially if I knew you were a boy, I don't know what your tendencies are. You may want to. I mean, this opens the door for a lot of peeping toms, because you know how people get, where they pretend to be something that they're not. And this opens the door for a lot of people to pretend to be what they're not. Okay, so this is her fight. There's absolutely nothing wrong with her fight. There's nothing wrong with if you put your transgender flag outside of the hallway and I don't agree with it, then I should be able to put there's only two genders, male, female. Why would you have a problem with that? Because technically, if you have a son who's now a daughter, all they did was just switch their gender, and there's only two genders, so technically she's right. 2 + 2 = 4. I'm just saying. So what's the issue here? Equality. Listen, we already knew Biden was going to pay attention to the LGBT community because that's what he made his promises. So again, as black people, when do we get our turn? Because clearly it doesn't seem like it's going to happen in the first 100 days. All right. So, now that we got this out the way, what's next? How do you feel about your children playing sports with biological... How do you feel, because this really affects the girls, not the boys. How do you feel about your daughter playing volleyball or basketball, because there's a picture of this in basketball, with a boy who's not a girl? Because really, they can't play the same. That's why we have the WNBA and that's why we have the NBA. If that's the case, then we might as well get rid of the WNBA and allow girls to try out, or women at this point, try out for the NBA, right? Do you think that's going to happen anytime soon? Because I think that's where we're going, is where we're going to cancel, gender-only sports and just group everybody together so we could all be one. Does that make sense to you all? Now, here's my thing, and I asked this question. And don't get mad at me. I'm asking because I'm trying to gain knowledge. If you're a transgender, am I supposed to know that? Like, I'm being real. Am I supposed to know that you're transgender? When we introduce each other and we greet each other, hi, my name is Emily, and you say your name is Barbara. Okay, I'm thinking you're Barbara, and Barbara to me is a girl name, so you're a woman, right? My mind isn't going anywhere else. But if you go out of your way to tell me that you're a transgender, what was that for? I feel like you're doing it for attention because I never asked, nor was that even on my mind. But now you have employers who have to abide by, respecting the transgender community. Now, does the employer need to know that you're transgender? Is the employer going to ask you? So now, if I'm going for an interview, is the employer going to ask me, or the hiring manager going to ask me if I'm transgender? Like, that's personal. Why are you even asking me that? What does that have to do with my job? Are you going to have a quota where you have to hire a certain amount of, or a percentage of transgenders? I'm asking because I'm trying to understand. If you're transgender, am I supposed to know that? Because I don't think I'm really supposed to know that you're trans. Just tell me what the heck your name is, right? And let's keep it moving. Do I care if you're trans? To be 100%, no. I got my own issues. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you used to be a boy or if you used to be a girl. How does that affect me? It doesn't. But clearly it affects everybody else that's a part of the community, because you all feel like you're not being respected. But by me not making a big deal out of it is respecting you, right? Because why would I make a big deal? Now I'm starting to think you all just want attention. And you're upset that you're not getting that attention. But why do we have to give you the attention? If you want to change your sex and become something else, then shoot. Become something else. I really don't care. A moment of truth. Please.
Yeah, Jeff. I'm going to be long.
All right. So there's still a good amount to unpack there. Your questions.
Are you supposed to know that they're transgender?
If
Do you
it's
care,
necessary, it's necessary. No, think about it, because let's say I work together and the world was back the way it was, right? We all were in work. Everybody goes to their cubicle, and you know me as Black Jeff, who sat in the corner. And then Thursday I come in and I'm Jessica, and I'm in the same bathroom with you. And you like, holy smokes, what's Jeff doing in the ladies' room? You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm Jessica.
I'm a different person, because I don't necessarily do all that if somebody's in the bathroom and you're okay. So you're now
That's you.
acting like a woman, but that is me.
And I know you know at
necessarily
least 3
jump.
coworkers in the building that may flip out. It'll be like, why is Jeff in the bathroom? And you be like, who cares? But they're gonna be like, we need to know. And you get what I'm saying? Now I don't need to have to go there and be like, look, this is what they did with the knife, and they did yada yada yada. No,
we don't have to go into the details.
you don't have to go into the details.
But I mean, I think we're intelligent people to know that clearly, if you were Jeff the other day and you came dressed comfortable as who you thought you were, I don't, as a grown person, we don't need to have that conversation. It's not that deep for me because I get it. You know?
You are more open minded in that ratio than a lot of other people. You would have to notify HR because you know what's gonna happen. One dude's just gonna notice, yo, that looks like the back of Black Jeff going in the ladies' room. What's going on? You get what I'm saying? And it's gonna trigger a question, and then they're gonna be like, Jeff's doing inappropriate behavior. So HR would have to be like, no, Jeff is Jessica now, and he can do that. And you know that'll be the end of it. You would need to know for school kids. You know what I'm saying? How we need to be treated. Because now if they letting the emancipated 16-year-olds or 15-year-olds do this, I don't know why they would. You understand?
Because you have that medical officer who's a trans. They told us she was a trans. Who's okay with the kids as young as 4 having hormone therapy.
Come on.
To change your sex without the parents' consent, which I'm totally against. Because again, a child doesn't know what a child can't even wipe their behind. 14-year-olds don't even wipe their behinds well. Okay, they still scratching their asses. All right.
You're right, but now think about it.
But they can tell you that they want to be a different sex.
So now think about it. Here go little Jeremy. Now he little Jessica
little
too.
what?
Little Jeremy, and now he little Jessica.
Wait,
and
say
your
the name
son,
again?
What? Which one?
Jeremy?
I said there go little Jeremy. The little other
Jeremy?
kid, whatever that is. Yeah, whatever little boy's name is. I'm just saying the name. You know, and now he Jessica, and your son like, yo, what's up, mommy? Why is this?
See, that's the problem I'm
And
gonna
now you have
is
to
because my son
explain.
is woke. So my son will be the first one to be like, no. And that's something that I have to have a conversation with him about.
And that's cool, but that's what I'm saying. This is why something may need to happen, or the school needs to be notified of, because kids will take a different angle of it.
I don't have a problem if you have transgenders
I'm just saying for
have their own
notification.
bathrooms. Now, if you
No,
said,
no.
why not?
No, we're not doing our own bathrooms. You one gender switching to another. That's cool. Lead it to. We're not having a third bathroom. I already don't like handicapped bathrooms because they take up too much, and people get mad when I go in.
But I'm saying that they can use a bathroom of their own. That way, boys stay in boys, girls stay in girls, and if y'all decided to flip flop, then y'all have your own bathroom where y'all can flip flop together.
No, that's too much. That's too much
How is
resources.
that too much?
That's too much resources that you're expecting.
What you mean?
You're expecting an agency to do a private.
If you
not
have,
let's say a private
all
agency
right,
to
say
do.
you have 10 bathrooms in a school. All you had to do was convert 2 or 3 of them to trans bathrooms. That's it.
So a lot of school buildings are based off a really old code. You talking about they're gonna have to build a whole new pipe system or a whole take
Why would
out
they have to
something
build
else.
a whole new pipe
Where
system?
they
if
gonna
you're
put
just-
where they gonna put a third bathroom?
No, I said if you had the schools have bathrooms on each floor, right?
Yeah. So
Now-
we talking about the whole room. So you got the whole boys' room, and you got stalls and urinals. You got the whole girl room, and you got stalls only. And you get what I'm saying? Now you're gonna we got to make a new room that's got whatever stalls or whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying? In it.
You could take out of all the bathrooms they got, you could take the trans boys' bathroom, the boys' bathroom and the girls' bathroom, and just put trans boys and trans girls. They know what that means because we're not going in there. But if you're now a girl and you used to be a boy, but yeah, if you're now a girl. Yes.
Go ahead.
If you're now a girl and you used to be a boy, you're going to use the trans girl's bathroom because you're a girl. Now, if you still have your penis, that's personal. Just go do what you do at home. Now, if you used to be a girl and you're now a boy, you're going to go. No, if you used to be a girl and you're now a boy, then you're going to go to the boys' bathroom. Now, they have urinals. If you about that life, then go ahead and get the surgery and get it over.
So, but then why don't we just keep the same boys and girls bathrooms? Once that person transitions to the other one,
Because
he or she
also
now goes to the
cannot-
other one.
Because you can't just. It's not easy to say it's okay for everybody else.
Why not? Because
Everybody else can't adapt that quickly.
so here goes my point. Hence, they would need to know if you make a special bathroom that's just ostracizing them.
that's
to
not
the-
ostracized.
That is.
I can't say the word. That's not with the over.
That's separate. That's separate.
It's okay if it's
That
separate.
is, but no,
because
it's
that
not.
gives them their privacy, but you stay away from all girls because you're not. For a girl, you're not really a girl. You
But-
still have a penis. If you're a girl and you're not a boy, you really don't have.
Isn't that what the stall inside the women's rooms are? Because no other woman is going in helping you with your pad, right?
Saying,
Generally.
listen, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying too, but that's
if they want to be a part of society, there's nothing wrong with designating bathrooms for them.
No, now you're segregating them from
that's
that.
That's not me segregating. That's me helping.
That's
y'all,
not helping.
Who's to say just because
that's
you're trans that makes you comfortable to even go into a bathroom?
Because now, going on your point, who said it? Who's to say if they're not comfortable going to the bathroom? That means they're not comfortable going into class with these students that are that may be frightened.
And they're not. That's why they need therapy.
No, not even therapy. Now they need their own school. So go on down the street. You stay over there at the trans school. Just like they used to have a colored school.
That might not be a bad idea because, listen.
So you're talking about segregation.
But it's not segregation
you keep
in a horrible
way. All segregation to me is a horrible way because nothing separate means equal. It means
so that means you don't visit Chinatown. You don't visit Little Italy.
Do you want to live?
Have you been to the Jewish community?
Do you want to live in any of those places you just said? I'll give you the Jewish community because they look a little more uppity. Do you want to live there? The Chinatown, when I go to New York City, looks dingy and dirty. That's just full.
Why you gotta be New York? There's a Chinatown in every city.
You name it. Fort Lee don't even look that good, and that's Koreans to be exact.
Korean city, Little Korea.
I'm just saying. I'm giving you that example. Once you divide it, it doesn't always mean equal. It doesn't necessarily mean not better either. I'm just saying nothing will be equal. So you can't say here's the same books, here's the same this. We get 100,000 a child. You gonna get 100,000 a child. That's not gonna make sense.
All right, Truth, your turn.
All right, so again, anything that would take the focus off of not giving black people what they're owed.
Are you slowly weasel your way back into this?
No,
it's just we're talking.
That's why I love him.
We're talking about
back to the Kardashians.
Well, all right, so you had to come up with something to take focus off of giving black people reparations they just deserve. So now we're going to go with something that every culture has, and that is the LG. I can't pronounce it. No disrespect to y'all, whatever. The LG
BTQ
plus minus whatever. No disrespect, but we're going to take focus off of that and give it to this. That's where the focus is going to be. I'm one of the few black people that like Shapiro, and his thought is, you can't get mad at me because I won't believe your lie. And that's what these individuals wanting to do. Mm-hmm. If you want to change your sex, change it. It's your money. It's your body. I have no problems with that. Here's my problem. When you want me to believe something that I know is a lie. You were born a man. I don't care if you chopped your penis off or not. You're a man. You could want to be called Betsy. I'll call you Betsy. I have no problem with that. But at the end of the day, you're not going to tell me you're a woman now because you cut your penis off. So I can say I'm white. If you could change your gender, I can change my nationality.
Rachel what's her name?
Dolezal.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
He's right.
You can't get mad because I don't want to believe your lie. And what they're doing with sports now, you have these transgender men that are culling their penises off just to join women's sports and dominating. They just did a story last week.
You don't even need to cut you off. You don't technically need to cut your penis off.
You don't.
As long as you identify
there you go. So you
woman
have this a fighter who's winning all the matches, pounded to freak out this young lady's face till it looked like it was a pound of ground beef, celebrated. So you don't have estrogen, you have testosterone. I don't care what medicine you're taking, you were born, your bone structure is different. Absolutely. You're going to be stronger than a woman no matter what. But again, anything to take the focus of giving black people they just deserve, we're going to run with that. But again, I don't have any problems with it. You want to cut off your body part, cut it off. You no longer don't want it, knock yourself out. I personally believe, and the gentleman who invented the surgery no longer wants to do it. He stopped doing it. You know why?
Why?
Because the suicide rate of those individuals who changed sex was so high. You can't reattach your penis, homie.
Ooh, they can't do that?
Absolutely not.
No, once it's off, it's off. Once you switch it, because your nerve endings die. See what they do? Well, we're not gonna go on that.
So at the end of the day, if the person
can't
who
go back.
invented the surgery doesn't want to do it anymore because of the height of suicide rate of the individuals who regretted what they did, but it's still good.
So I'm gonna leave this question out here. Nothing to answer. You could go into some news thing. Is it mental health?
Part of it is mental health because I think you have to go through a large amount of therapy hours before you make a
can get it done.
decision to cut your penis off.
So
Not enough to get all that.
go
suicide
deeper
rates.
into mental health. Is it a mental health problem that
I-
nobody wants to sit there and say?
No, because they feel like it's an insult to say it's a mental health problem, or a mental health issue. But at the same time,
But you need to take the test.
you won't even let parents make the decisions for their children, but you're okay with a 5-year-old saying, well, I want to be a boy, saying I want to be a girl, and not figure out what caused you to feel this way. Why do you think you're a girl? And go through the process so that way at least the parents understand, because you never know what happened to your child. You don't see your child 24 hours. You don't know what happened that could be causing your child to think that they're no longer a boy and they're only 5 years old. My gosh.
So all you doing is beating around the mental health. I know we don't need to answer it, but I'm just saying if it's deep
I
rooted
think
in
it's
a mental
deep-rooted.
health,
I think it is a mental health issue. Just like you have your regular gays, then you have your flamboyant gays, the loud ones. I mean,
But
I
see,
think
that's the thing right there. How is it different gays?
it is different gays.
But I'm saying, how is it? Like, are they different blacks? No, you're black. If you're gay, you're gay. So here's the thing that I find confusing. There's nothing against you. If anybody wants to explain to me, I'm here. If you like the other sex, then you like the other sex. But then you have some women who date women who portray their lives as men. Then why are you dating a woman? Or you have guys who date men who dress up like women. Then why don't you just date a woman?
because they like to have the penis.
Okay, no, then you have guys who only date transgenders.
Like, what's his name from
You look at the cover, the black guy,
the black, what do you call it?
Malik Yoba.
Yes, Malik Yoba. He likes trans. He likes men that dress up as women. They used to be men that are now women.
Because he likes the penis, but he likes the female outline
likes-
of the penis. With a penis, excuse me, not of.
Girls can put.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Your wife
He
can put a
likes-
strap on, homie.
So, like,
Well, that's true too. Your wife can, if you like a penis, your wife can put a strap on
Okay.
and just get you in the butt.
yeah,
Whatever
but
you
it's
like.
not. It may not necessarily be about that. Maybe because there's no way they're going to be able to mimic the
Put your wife in
feminine. No, I'm saying not the femininity, the masculinity
You put your
or
wife in,
the emotions of that. It's
Okay,
like
so
You can put his
yes,
wife.
you're
in,
You understand what I'm saying?
What's that thing? That bodybuilding training. If you
shut up, man. Shut up.
So what you're saying is that he potentially,
You
and this is no diss to him. We're just trying to get
Or
understanding.
anybody, yeah.
So you're saying that he probably likes the masculinity of a female.
Yeah, right, a masculine female. Yeah. There are a lot of.
Now that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So you prefer your woman to look masculine, so you would like to date a trans because that used to be a guy who's now. But I don't know. It's still the XYXX chromosome thing. I
all
don't
he
know.
gotta do is go to Gold's Gym. He'll be all right.
On that note, until next time.
Get this off.